Namaskar, welcome to Break Time Vartalap. Bodybuilding is mostly considered to be sports for men. But today we have a story of a female bodybuilder, Tejaswini Pandit from Tamil Nadu. Tejaswini started her training at the age of 13. She is a IFBB Pro card holder. IFBB stands for International Federation for Bodybuilding and Fitness. It's a very difficult thing to get, and that too for a female bodybuilder. So let's hear from Tejaswini about her story of strength, determination and courage.
Hi everybody, my name is Tejaswini Pandit. I am an IFBB Figure Pro. I got into fitness at the age of 13 when I wanted to lose weight. I was a fat kid and I thought, the gym would be able to solve that problem. So I started with my training and soon my focus shifted from losing weight to getting stronger and stronger. As time passed, years went by and I found myself pursuing powerlifting. Thereafter I realized, okay, it's time. I think I want to see my abs and I wanted to be really shredded. So I decided, let's just try bodybuilding. I just found the right people and I started working towards my physique goals and I found myself on the bodybuilding stage. My journey this far has been a very interesting experience. It's been a lot of learnings and a lot of improvisations along the way, given the situation I was in, because bodybuilding is something I always pursued along with my education. So I was studying, I went through college, I went through post-graduation, all while doing this on the side. So obviously this pursuit was not easy. It was filled with a lot of challenges, especially because I was doing a lot of things along with college. When I was in school, it was all right, but when class 10 happened, class 12 happened, I had to take my breaks for my exams like a regular student would, because education was obviously very, very important. I went on to pursue my graduation in hospitality and hotel administration. So there I had a new set of challenges because I was staying in the hostel and I had to figure out how to get my meals in on time. We used to eat at the mess, especially when you're in the girls' hostel. There are a certain set of rules and regulations. When I went on to do my post-graduation, it was a different challenge where I was staying as a paying guest and the house had no kitchen, no fridge, no facility to cook. So I had to make a little small setup for myself. I had to go shopping for food every single day. Things like that. Later when I went on to start working, I had a different challenge because I had a full-time job. I had to, prep my own food. I didn't have a fridge again, I didn't have a kitchen. So how I managed in those situations was basically a few things. One is finding the right food, finding foods that can stay fresh outside of the fridge, going shopping every single day, or relying a lot on fresh vegetables, things that can be eaten raw as well. And when I was working, the other thing that was important was, I used to I used to take a lot of help from my neighbors, ask them if I could leave something in their fridge, doing things like that, because as a student you have limited time, limited resources and limited knowledge of a lot of these things. So kind of bringing it all together and being disciplined about my nutrition was key to achieve the physique that I have and achieve the look that I had when I was on stage. So my training schedule has always varied based on what point in my life I have been at. So when I was in school and when I was in college, it used to be different. So when I was in school, I used to train after school. When I was in college, I would train at the end of the day. But as contest prep happened, I would train in the morning as well as in the evening. My preferred workout time is always in the second half of the day, because then I have had my meals in, I have all my work for the day done, and then I can get my mind to really focus on the session. So I've done a variety of splits when it comes to the way I structure my training, but that is very individual. It depends on each training block and what my focus is for that particular block, because as a bodybuilder at this point in my career, it is important for me to improve on my weaknesses, and therefore each block of training has a different kind of focus. My parents' reaction was really interesting because I did not tell my father. I used to stay away from home a lot, and my mom kind of knew a little bit, but I never told them because I just felt that it was just something that I was pursuing on the side. It was never really big. I didn't have any big achievements. So until I got my pro card and I could hear the national anthem playing, I did not really talk about it much, because I felt like it was always a work in progress. And when I got to that point and I shared it with my father and mother, they were very, very proud, and they were very happy of how far I had made it. The thing I've noticed especially is, especially with social media, a lot of people say a lot of things. Because I remember, because I've been training since school, I never had this issue when I was in school and college, when I would train. I mean, they were incredibly surprised and amazed at the fact that I was really strong. But at that point, I didn't feel like I faced a lot of backlash in comparison to like today's day, where a lot of people seem to just express themselves in a very uncensored way on social media. I don't really pay attention to that, because I know for a fact that at certain instances I've always learned that I'm a lot stronger than all these people who talk such things about me. So, and it was never about me trying to prove to someone that I am better or anything. It was never about men versus women. It was always about me trying to be strong and trying to improve every single day. I find that there is a very big difference between how bodybuilding is looked at when it comes to men and when it comes to women. So it's obviously not the same, because men have been in the sport for a very, very long time as compared to women, especially in India. Okay, in an international situation, I think it would have been obviously different. But especially in India, I feel like we're a lot more conservative in more ways than one, and therefore it's a little difficult to get the same kind of perception or the same kind of attention, because then when someone is trying to kind of come up in this sport, first of all, it's male dominated. The other part is finding a coach itself is a challenge. As far as the industry is concerned, when you join a gym and when people see a woman lifting heavy weights, again there are a lot of perceptions and a lot of doubts that like, why is she trying to do this, or why is she trying to turn into a man, or whatever it is. So it's always harder for a woman to navigate through those situations, but I think eventually we come out a lot stronger through the process. So it's still something that's catching up. Nowadays we find a lot many more female athletes, more categories for women are coming up, and a lot of these categories are coming to India, thanks to the federations who are doing work in this area. So I think it's quite positive, and it's only going to get better. It's actually funny because I always get a mixed response when it comes to the way I look, and the funny part is I don't look the way I look because I want to impress somebody. So some people like it, some people don't like it, and I don't think about those things too much. Actually, a lot of youngsters and people who get inspired by the kind of look that I have, and people like to know how I got there and what it takes and those things, they are the people who really admire me. There are people who always, you always get the ews and the wows, right? So the responses are very mixed, and that's just the way people are, right? You cannot please everybody. So some people do get scared, but eventually they find a way to approach me. They do compliment me, and they really appreciate. So I think most of the time it's been good. People who have something negative to say are not usually the ones who come and say to your face. They're the ones who sit behind a screen and then they write about you. Remember one thing, that bodybuilding is an extremely competitive sport, irrespective of which category you're competing in. Making your career in bodybuilding is not really the correct way of looking at the sport, okay? Because you need to look at the sport as a hobby or a certain pursuit that you're going to carry forward along with whatever your profession is. Because today I work for a fitness company. I train trainers, and I also have my own freelance training business and things like that. That is where the real money is, okay? You use that money to prepare for contests, to travel and to compete, and whatever comes along with it. Or maybe you get some sponsorships if you're lucky, and you get some endorsements and things like that. But that is always going to be a hobby until you find a way to make it your profession, okay? So bodybuilding by itself cannot suddenly turn into a career for you. So focus on making a mark in the fitness industry as a true fitness professional. So that could be in the field of training, nutrition, sports, rehab, strength and conditioning. There are multiple avenues where you can make a mark, and educate yourself in this domain if that's what you think your passion is, and thereafter use the learnings that you have received in bodybuilding, where you can apply it to your training on a day-to-day basis. My only advice is focus on educating yourself in this area and in the industry overall, and thereafter decide whether you want to make a full-time career in the fitness industry or not. There are a lot of people who are not into fitness, not in the fitness industry, so their core job is something else. They're lawyers, they're into medicine, they're into let's say engineering, things like that, who pursue bodybuilding as a hobby and they keep it the way that is, okay? So if you get lucky and you make it to a certain level, then obviously you can afford to quit your job, leave everything, pursue something else, and then enter the sport. But at the outset, please make sure that you educate yourself, because that is more important. Competing is a temporary thing, okay? You cannot be on the stage forever, but you can use the attention and the glamour and the glory that you get by being on the stage to actually work on a business or create a different opportunity in the meanwhile. So that's how you should really look at bodybuilding as a career. Thank you very much for watching. Do show your support to this channel, like, share, subscribe, and if you have any female athletes, male athletes who are looking for any kind of assistance when it comes to coaching or when it comes to any kind of mentorship, I'm going to leave my email ID in the description. You can reach out and we can get in touch after. Thank you very much.